Today, we're going to explore 12 signs that your dog might be mad at you. You see, dogs communicate differently than we humans do. They use body language, energy, and vocalizations to tell us how they're feeling. We'll delve into each sign, explaining what it looks like and what it means in terms of your dog's emotional state. Dogs are masters of nonverbal communication. They speak volumes with their bodies, and their eyes are incredibly expressive. When a dog is feeling confident and comfortable, they'll often meet your gaze directly. However, when a dog is feeling upset or uncomfortable, they will often avoid direct eye contact. Think of it this way. In the dog world, a direct stare can be perceived as a challenge. When your dog is feeling upset, the last thing they want is to escalate the situation. Instead, they may avert their gaze, looking away from you or even turning their head completely. It's crucial to respect this signal and give them the space they need to calm down. We've all been there. You call your dog and they just stare at you blankly. Or maybe you're trying to teach them a new trick and they seem to have suddenly forgotten everything they've learned. When your dog is feeling happy and connected to you, they're much more likely to follow your commands. However, when a dog is feeling upset, frustrated, or stressed, they might start ignoring your commands. This isn't necessarily out of defiance, but rather a reflection of their emotional state. Think of it like this. If you were upset about something, would you be in the mood to listen to instructions? Probably not. Instead of getting frustrated, try to understand the root of the problem. Addressing the underlying issue will be far more effective than simply repeating the command over and over. Dogs are den animals by nature. They feel safe and secure in enclosed spaces, and they often retreat to these spaces when they're feeling overwhelmed or stressed. This could be their crate, a spot under the bed, or even a quiet corner of the house. When your dog is feeling mad, scared, or anxious, they might seek out these hiding spots as a way to cope with their emotions. It's their way of saying, "I need a break from the world right now." Forcing your dog out of their hiding spot will only increase their stress and anxiety. Instead, give them time to decompress and approach them calmly when they eventually come out. Create a safe haven for your furry friend, and respect their need for alone time when they're feeling overwhelmed. Barking is a natural form of communication for dogs. They bark to greet us, to alert us to potential dangers, and even to express their excitement. However, excessive barking can also be a sign that something is amiss. When a dog is feeling frustrated, anxious, or angry, they might bark more frequently or intensely than usual. This is their way of releasing pent-up energy and communicating their emotional state. Think of it like this. Just like humans raise their voices when they're angry, dogs might bark more forcefully when they're feeling upset. If your dog is barking excessively, it's important to try to identify the underlying cause. Once you've identified the root of the problem, you can start addressing it and help your dog feel calmer and more relaxed. We've all seen the aftermath of a dog who's been left alone for too long. Chewed up shoes, shredded pillows, maybe even a few teeth marks on the furniture. While this behavior can be incredibly frustrating for owners, it's important to remember that it's often a sign of underlying anxiety or frustration in dogs. Dogs are social creatures who crave interaction and stimulation. When they're left alone for extended periods without enough mental or physical exercise, they can become bored, restless, and destructive. Destructive behavior can also be a way for dogs to relieve stress or anxiety. Chewing, digging, and shredding can release endorphins, which have a calming effect on dogs. If your dog is engaging in destructive behavior, it's crucial to address the underlying issue. Make sure they're getting enough exercise, mental stimulation, and interaction with you. Growling is a dog's way of saying, "Back off." It's a clear warning signal that they're feeling threatened, uncomfortable, or possessive. While it's never pleasant to hear your dog growl, it's essential to understand that it's a form of communication, not aggression. Dogs growl to communicate a variety of emotions, including fear, anxiety, territoriality, and possessiveness. By paying attention to the context in which your dog growls, you can get a better understanding of what they're trying to communicate. It's crucial to never punish a dog for growling, as this can suppress this vital communication signal and lead to more dangerous behavior in the future. Instead, if your dog growls, give them space, and try to identify what's causing them to feel threatened or uncomfortable. If you can remove the trigger, or create distance between your dog and the source of their discomfort, you can help them feel safer and more secure. We all know how much dogs love their food. For many dogs, mealtime is the highlight of their day. So, when a dog refuses food, it's often a clear sign that something is wrong. While there could be medical reasons for a loss of appetite, it's essential to consider emotional factors as well. Just like humans lose their appetite when they're upset or stressed, dogs might refuse food if they're feeling anxious, fearful, or angry. If your dog suddenly stops eating, it's crucial to rule out any underlying medical conditions first and foremost. Consult with your veterinarian to ensure there are no health issues. If your vet gives your dog a clean bill of health, then it's time to consider emotional factors. Addressing these stressors and creating a calm, predictable environment for your dog can help encourage them to eat again. A dog's tail is like a mood barometer, constantly reflecting their emotional state. While a wagging tail is often associated with happiness and excitement, a tucked tail can be a sign of fear, anxiety, or submission. When a dog tucks their tail between their legs, they're trying to make themselves appear smaller and less threatening. It's their way of saying, "I'm not a threat, please don't hurt me." Tail tucking is often accompanied by other body language signals that indicate fear or anxiety, such as flattened ears and a lowered body posture. If you notice your dog tucking their tail, it's essential to approach them with caution and avoid making any sudden movements or loud noises that could startle them. If you can create a safe and predictable environment for your dog, they'll be less likely to resort to tail tucking as a coping mechanism. House training accidents are a common source of frustration for dog owners. While there can be medical reasons for inappropriate urination, such as urinary tract infections, it's important to consider emotional and behavioral factors as well. When a dog pees or poops inside the house, it's not because they're trying to be defiant or spiteful. It's their way of communicating that something is wrong. They might be feeling stressed, anxious, or insecure, and they're using this behavior as a way to signal their distress. If your house-trained dog suddenly starts having accidents, the first step is to rule out any medical conditions with a visit to your veterinarian. If there are no underlying health issues, it's time to consider emotional and behavioral factors. Addressing these stressors and creating a calm, predictable environment for your dog can help resolve the issue. We all have our ways of dealing with nervous energy. Some people tap their feet, others bite their nails. Dogs, on the other hand, often pace back and forth when they're feeling anxious, restless, or frustrated. Pacing is a repetitive behavior that dogs engage in when they're unable to settle down. It's often a sign that they're feeling overwhelmed by their emotions and are seeking a way to release their pent-up energy. If you notice your dog pacing excessively, it's important to try to identify the underlying cause of their anxiety or frustration. Are they bored, stressed? Is there something in their environment that's triggering them? Once you've identified the root of the problem, you can start addressing it and help your dog feel calmer and more relaxed. Dogs are masters of vocal communication. They bark, howl, growl, and of course, whine. While whining can be endearing when your dog wants your attention or a treat, it can also be a sign of distress, anxiety, or frustration. When a dog whines, they're trying to communicate a need. They might be hungry, thirsty, need to go potty, or want your attention. However, whining can also be a sign that your dog is feeling uncomfortable, stressed, or in pain. If your vet gives your dog a clean bill of health, then it's time to consider emotional and behavioral factors. Most dogs love a good cuddle or belly rub. Physical touch is a powerful way to bond with your dog and show them affection. However, if your normally affectionate dog suddenly starts avoiding touch or shies away when you try to pet them, it's a clear sign that something is wrong. Dogs might avoid touch for a variety of reasons. They might be in pain, feeling unwell, or simply not in the mood for cuddles. If your dog suddenly starts avoiding touch, the first step is to rule out any underlying medical conditions with a visit to your veterinarian. If your vet gives your dog a clean bill of health, then it's time to consider emotional and behavioral factors. Addressing these stressors and creating a calm, predictable environment for your dog can help them feel more comfortable and receptive to touch again. We've covered a lot of ground today, exploring 12 signs that your dog might be mad at you. Remember, understanding your dog's body language and vocalizations is key to building a strong, trusting relationship. Let us know in the comments if you've noticed any of these signs in your dog. Sharing your experiences can help other dog owners better understand their furry friends. By paying attention to their needs and responding with patience and understanding, you can strengthen your bond and create a harmonious relationship with your beloved companion. See you next time. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.